Now let us discuss about RVDT, that is Rotary Variable Differential Transformer. So RVDT is basically used for the measurement of angular displacement. It converts angular displacement into a suitable electrical signal. And its operating principle is similar to that of LVDT, that is Linear Variable Differential Transformer. So the working or operation of both LVDT and RVDT remains same here, and also their construction is same except the construction of core. So as we can see here, the RVDT consists of one primary winding and two secondary windings. So this secondary winding is split into two secondary windings having equal number of turns, and the two secondary windings are connected in series opposition with respect to each other. That means the voltage induced across the two secondary windings will be equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So in this case, the basic difference between LVDT and RVDT is the core. Here the core is cam shaped. It is cam shaped and it is rotated inside the winding through a shaft. So the core is cam shaped, core is connected to the shaft whose angular displacement is to be measured. So now when this cam shaped core is at null position, so as you can see in the diagram, this position of the cam shaped core is called as its null position. So when the core is at its null position, then the voltage induced across the two secondary windings are equal in magnitude and they are opposite in direction. So therefore the net voltage V0, which is equal to E1 minus E2, will be 0. So now this shaft can be rotated either in the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. So now when this shaft is rotated in the clockwise direction, then when it moves through a certain angle theta in the clockwise direction, then more amount of core will be linking, or the distance between the core and the winding S2 will be less. So therefore the EMF induced across S2 will be more and EMF induced across S1 will be less. In that case, the differential voltage V0 will be E1 minus E2, which is less, which decreases, and when this core is moved in the anti-clockwise direction, E1 increases and E2 decreases. So E1 minus E2, so V0 increases. So in this way, the differential voltage V0 will give the angular displacement of the core. The magnitude of V0 is equal to the magnitude of angular displacement, and whether the output voltage V0 decreases or increases, it depends upon the direction of rotation. When the core is rotated in the clockwise direction, V0 decreases, and when the core is rotated in the anti-clockwise direction, V0 increases. So in this way, this RVDT is used to measure the angular displacement in terms of the output voltage generated. Now let us see recent trends. Smart pressure transmitters. So smart pressure transmitters are nothing but the pressure transmitters which uses digital devices like microprocessors. So the output in case of smart transmitters is 4 to 20 milliampere on 2 wire, but with the added capability of digital communication from handheld interface connected devices. So now these smart pressure transmitters senses all the three parameters of pressure. So it senses all the three parameters of pressure measurement, that is differential pressure, static pressure and temperature. So in order to measure differential pressure, we have to compensate the effect of static pressure as well as temperature, and this is possible with the help of smart pressure transmitters. So here the main advantage of these smart pressure transmitters are rangeability and reliability. They have high range of operation and they are highly reliable. So other than these, there are other advantages also. Increased range. So as I told, rangeability, high rangeability. So it has increased range capacity and higher accuracy, reduced cabling cost, better noise immunity, and they are more economical. Now let us see selection of sensors. So there are many sensors available in the market in order to measure the same physical quantity. Then how to select a sensor? So there are many factors which are to be considered for selecting a sensor. So there are two main factors here which are to be considered while selecting a sensor. The first factor is the nature of measurement required. So the nature of measurement required should be considered while selecting a sensor. For example, the variable to be measured, its nominal value, the range of values, the accuracy required, the required speed of measurement, the reliability required, and the environmental conditions under which the measurement is to be made. So all these factors are to be considered while selecting a sensor. Then second thing is the nature of output required. So the nature of output required from the sensor is very important factor to be considered here because this determines the signal conditioning requirements in order to give suitable output signals from the measurement. So these are the main two factors to be considered while selecting a sensor.